in Apex. Okay, so first of all, yesterday we did an example where we kind of added two numbers, and in that we just took two different we created variables called int a, then integer a, then we have integer b, that is to store a number, and then we created another variable to store the result of that addition and subtraction and multiplication. So similarly, we'll talk about other different types of um, data types that are available in Salesforce. So there's a very important one. One of the very commonly used data type we have is a string, and it's like, and also it comes up with a lot of like a lot of methods. Okay, so what is a string? String is something that if you wanted to store something in single quote, that's when we use a string. Okay, so how you will declare a particular string variable? First important thing is you need to first define the you define the data type, that is string, that is the data type, and then the name of this, so this is the name, and then what is the value in it. If you don't assign anything, if you don't provide, like if you just say string name, so what happens is every variable gets an empty value, we call it as null. Okay, if you don't assign the value, if you don't initialize, that's called initialize, if you don't initialize the with the variable with a default value or a initialized value, then that automatically every variable gets a value called null. Okay, you can even say something like this as well: string name is equals to null. You can manually specify a null. Null means like nothing, it's empty. Okay, or if you just say string name, then it is automatically name will get a value of null. Okay, so now if let's say I wanted to store your names. Okay, so let's say string, so let's say I wanted to store these your three people names, so I'm going to say string name is equals to Priyanka. That's my name number one. Then I will say string name 2, so I'll create another variable to display Abhinav, and then I will create another variable to display the third one. Okay, and then we will say how we can use different methods in string. So let's go back, let's log into salesforce.com, and which one we were using yesterday, if somebody remembers. I think this one. I'm just giving you very simple examples because I don't want you to give you a big program and you trying to figure out what's going on. So here, let's say we have string name 1 is equals to, we're going to say Priyanka. So this is one variable which stores Priyanka. Then we have name 2 is equals to Abhinav. And then we have another one, string name 3, we'll call it as Ravi. So now tell me what will be the output of this program. Okay, system.debug, you send me a message, each of you, and just send it to me. Okay, system.debug. Okay, what is going to be the output of this program? Okay, and how about this one? what's going to be the output of this one? So what is this operator called? Plus, it's a concatenation operator. So tell me what will be the output. Very good. Very good. Very good. What about Abhinav? Very good. Okay, good. So this is called as you can concatenate the two different strings together. So now if I say string C is equals to name1 plus name2, what's going to be, and if I say system dot of debug and I say C, what's going to be the output here? Exactly, it will be Priyanka Abhinav. So if I go back here and if I say, if let's go ahead and execute this, now what's going to happen is, okay, name1, name3. Oh. So the execute statement is going to be, my name is Abhinav, I am Priyanka and Ravi friend, and then it's going to be Priyanka Abhinav without the space because we have not added any space in here. Next thing is, if I wanted to check if two strings are equal, how will I do that? So let's say I've created a string, okay, and then it's called, the name of the variable is X, and I call it as I am a string. Okay, this is my first variable. The next one that we have is string Y. Apex is case insensitive. That means you can write things in small and capital letters. Both doesn't make a difference. Okay, you can write it instead of this. You can write it as this as well. They both are treated as same two strings. Okay. So now if I say I'm a string. So now I've written these two different. I've created two different string variables which hold two different values, and then there's another string variable called Z, and it has a value of hello, how are you? Okay, so now if I wanted to check the equality, means if I wanted to see if these two are equal or not, so how can I do that? There is a thing to do, system dot of debug, and then you can say, if I wanted to check if these two are equal, so there is an equal to operator is there. Okay, that is different from the assignment operator that we talked about yesterday, which is this one. This is an assignment operator. This is called as an assignment operator, and which basically assigns the value, whereas this one, the double equal to, is called as the this one is called as the equals to operator. Basically it tells if two strings are equal. Okay, so now this, if I go ahead and run this, what do you think will be the output of this program? X is equals to Y. What is X? X is I am a string. What is Y? I am a string. Because they are totally insensitive, so they both are going to return you, these both are going to return you true here because both have the same values. Okay, so it's going to, if you go ahead and run this, it's going to say true because X has a value of I am a string and Y also has a value of I am a string. But because one is in small letters, the other one is capital letter. Now how about if I wanted to see if X and Z are equal? So what is going to be this two? What's going to be the output of this one? This is going to give you a false because these two are not equal. What about if I wanted to see system dot of debug X not equals to Z? What do you think? This is a not equals to operator. This is called as the not equal to. Okay, not equal to. So first of all, this is a string, Very good. This will return me true because x and z are equal. And how about this one? System.debug. How about this one? What's going to be the output of this? Very good, very good. What about Abhinav? What's going to be the output of line number 7? Is it going to be true or is it going to be false? What will be the output of line number 7? Think again. What will be the output of number 7? Think again. Priyanka, I didn't got a single reply from you. No, no, no. Oh, is that so? Okay, so you guys have the same name. That's why I don't know why. Why did you have same name here? You should put it as Priyanka. It's so confusing. Okay, what I told you yesterday was anything you write in the single quotes is considered as a string. So this is not going to print false or true because this is not this is in string. So it's going to print as it is. Remember that? Yesterday we discussed anything you write in single quotes is going to be written as the same thing. So here if we go back, we say system.debug. This is where it will go ahead and calculate when I don't write it in string single quote. Now this is going to give me, I am a string, I am a string, this is going to give me false. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. So let me go ahead and kind of so we know which line is what. Just put it in the brackets. Plus v. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute. X is equals to y. That's going to give us true. So x is equals to y, that's true. X is equals to z, that's false. X is not equals to z, that is true. True and true. The last two were true and true. Okay, so this is what this is. Okay, wait a minute.
Last two statements are same.
No, why they're string? Wait a minute, what just happened?
Both statements are same, right?
They didn't got printed. Okay, let me see.
Oh.
3 and 2, 5. 7 and 8. Yeah. Thank you, Abhinav. Okay, so now it's going to be x not equals to y false and x not equals to y is false. Okay, if I just print it as it is, if I don't mention this brackets or this thing, then it's going to just print as it is the string. So it's going to just print as it is the string. Now the next thing that we have is there another function that is available in string. Let's say if I want to calculate what's the line that ends with. So these functions, string is one of the very common used data type in everyday Apex use. So let's say if I wanted to go ahead, so these functions are important. So if I, and also in for perspective of exam, this will be asked. So if I go back and let's say I wanted to check something else. Let's say this is my string. I create a variable called string and I call it as string x is equals to system dot of debug. If I want to figure out if x dot, there is a function available with this string variable. If x, I wanted to figure out if x ends with w, what will be the output of the program. So if I wanted to see if this particular line ends with w, the answer will be either yes or no. Okay, so if I go ahead and run, so does this x variable value ends with w? Yes, it's self-explanatory, ends with the function available. So if I go ahead and execute this one, does not w. Okay, that's it. See, I did a mistake here. I have to put it in the quotes because it was expecting it to be this one. So if I go ahead and execute this one, it's going to say true. And if I say if this ends with n, the output would be false because it does not ends with n. That's false. Next thing we have here is in the case of if I wanted to check how many characters are there in this string, there is a variable, there is a method available to calculate the number of characters in this string. So let's say if the, let's say I put it as this, instead of this big thing, I say Deepika Khanna. So if I go ahead and say system dot of debug, there is a variable called x dot of length. So what will it check? It will give me the length of the string. Okay, so how much characters are 3, 3, 6, 7, I think there's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So approximately it's going to give you 14 characters because this is a method that is available in string to calculate the length. So if I say execute, it's going to say 14. Okay, and I think it included the white space. So it included the space here. 3, 3, 6, 7, 7 and 7 and 6 is 13, 13 plus 1, 4. Okay, so it's calculated the thing. So now let's say if I wanted to get a substring out of this. So let's say I wanted to get these 3 parts. Okay, so how will I do? There is a method available to do that, which is called as substring. So if I wanted to say x dot of substring, so from start from 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, start from 5 and 6 7 8 9 and 10. So how many it will go, how many thing is going to print? It's going to start from 3 4 5 I k a and k and h. So it's going to go ahead and go up till this thing. It's going to go ahead and print this because this is going to be the substring. So let's see if this is the right answer. Okay, ka and kh. Let me see. It started from ka and kh. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5. So it started with the 6th one. Okay, 6 7 8 9 and 10. Okay, so till h it converted, instead of it started from 5th to 10th. 6 7 8 9.
Sixth to 10th.
Yeah, 6th to 10th. So it's going to be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, so it's it started from the 6th one and it went up till 10. So that is what if you wanted to calculate the substring of it. So if you wanted to calculate The length, this is a function available which calculates the length and it includes the white spaces as well. And there's a method available called ends with if you wanted to see if the string ends with this one, and there's a substring means if you wanted to take the part of the string as a whole. Okay. So this thing in the string, guys, this was going to be from 0. So instead of this is going, it's not going to be 1. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is going to be this is going to be at the location number 5. So it starts, indexing starts from 0 in any programming language. It's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's why it started with 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. So it went up till from 5 to 10. So it went up from 5 to 9. You getting my point here? So it started, this D is not at 1 position, it's at 0th position. That's what it is. Okay. The substring method will produce it from the first index argument, which is this one, and it goes and it starts from the 0 to the second index argument. Okay. Are you following? Okay. Next thing that we have here is there is a thing called Boolean. Yesterday we discussed what is a Boolean. Boolean is also another thing. Boolean is for true and false. Let's say, guys, I wanted to, you might have seen things like, okay, if you bought 4 items, I will give you 10% discount. Okay. Otherwise, no discount. There is something called as yes or no. So sometimes you need to do something based on a condition. So then we talk about if-else statements. Now what do you mean by if-else? Let's say, okay, how many items you bought? You said 4. I'll say if number of items is greater than 4 or equal to 4, then the discount percentage would be 10%. Otherwise, the discount would be, okay, let me write it nicely. It's very bad. Okay, so we define it by Boolean number of items, let's say. Okay, number of items is equals to 4. That's what you said. If the number of items, this is called as if-else condition. If number of items is greater than 4 or equals to 4, then this is called as the if block. This is called as the if block. Only one of the block will execute at one point of time. Not both of them will not execute. Only one of the block will execute, else this block will execute. This is called as else block. So here if I say system.debug discount, if I say discount is equals to 10%, then system.debug discount will be equals to 10. Otherwise the discount will be equals to 0. So this is what it is going to do. Okay, Boolean is basically, it can have either a true or a false. Either a true or a false. Okay, so let's say if I wanted to go ahead and do something like this. I create a variable called integer number of items and you set it 4. Okay, if number of items, our output is going to be either true or false. If number of item is greater than equals to 4, then you don't have to use square brackets, you have to use curly braces. Okay, or we can also say, what was that called? What was it, Ravi Tej? What was that? You had a different name for these braces? Fry
Flower
braces?
braces.
Flower braces. Oh yeah, flower braces. So these are called as curly braces, so you can use them. So if number of item is greater than 4, so how the code will run? The code will run like this. How many number of item is equals to 4? So this is going to be, is it true? Yes. So if this is true, then this part of the code will run. If this expression result into false, then this part of the code will run. Okay, but only one part of the code will run, either the if part or the else part. Okay, so let's say here I say system.of_debug you got 10% discount. Okay, this is called as if-else condition. So Boolean is used to store if-else. Okay, system.of_debug you got 0 discount. So what will be the output of this program? Okay, good. So this, which part of the code will run? If part of the code will run. Okay. So here, if I go back and execute, it's going to go ahead and give me an error because I didn't put it this one. Couldn't execute, and it's going to say, you got 10% discount. Okay, this is what it's going to go ahead and do. You got 10% discount. Now, if this, there can have been multiple statements here. Okay, so here if I say, this is everything in the if block will run. Okay, if there is only one statement, one will run. If there are multiple statements will be run. Okay, so here, and here if I go back and I say, so what's going to be the output of the program, guys? If part is going to run, and both of these conditions are going to run. Okay, system, you got 10% discount, and this is going to run. And then here in this case, this else part will not run. How about, so if I go ahead and execute it, what's going to be the output of the program? Very good. You got 10% discount. Enjoy your shopping. Now, how about this one? What's going to be the output of the program now? You just tell me which line number get printed. Okay, you don't even have to write the whole thing. Just tell me which line number will get printed. That will be easy instead of typing everything. Okay. Okay. What about, and try to answer in one line. Don't go through multiple lines. Okay, so the first fourth will go, then the fifth line number will be printed. Very good. And then the 13th line number will get printed. Where was others' answer? What was Abhinav's answer? Abhinav, what did you answer? 4 and 5, that's it. Okay, what about this one? See, this line is outside of the block, any of the block. Okay, this is outside of, so no matter what, there is no condition on this one. So no matter what, if this condition meets or it does not meet, this line will always get printed. You know what I'm saying here? So it will be 4, 5 and line number 13, because this gets executed because this block of code or this expression comes out to be true. And then what will happen is only this part of the code will run, but this line number 13 is outside of this if else, so this will also run. So if I go ahead and execute this one, you're going to see 3 lines gets printed. Okay. How about now? What happens? What about now, guys? What's going to be the output of the program? Okay. 9, 10 and 13. Very good. Wait, is it Pranka is the one who's answering, or who is answering? Okay, so you said else block will run and then the 13th. Very good. So else part will run because this condition came out to be false because number of item is greater than equals to 4. No, that's not true. So this condition is going to be, condition is going to run because 2 is less than 4, and then this part will run no matter what. Okay, so then this is going to be the output of the program. Okay, you got 0 discount, buy more items to enjoy, and thank you. So this is going to be the output of that condition. Now there is another operator here called as ternary operator. There is an operator in Apex or in a programming language called a ternary operator, which is, write it one more time, is called ternary operator, and this operator is like a shortcut for if-else condition. Okay, if instead of, because in if you write this, then you write a condition, then you have these curly braces, and then you write an else, and then you have curly braces, and then you write the statements, right? So this is pretty, like, it's a lot of writing to do here. Now in this there is a shortcut here for, and it's called as a ternary operator. For example, let's say if 4 is greater than 2, this is the condition that we want to check. What we do here is, if 4 is greater than 2, what will we have been done? We'll say if condition is, okay, system.debug true. Let's say you want to print this, and let's say else we want to print system.debug, we want to print this. Instead of this, guys, there is a shortcut here. The shortcut is, if we will say something like this, we will say 4 greater than 2. Okay, this is the condition, 4 greater than 2, and then we put a question mark. If this is going to be, if this part of the program is right, okay, if this is right, then print true, else print false, let's say. And we will store this value in a variable called x, let's say. So what will happen here is, we don't have to use if condition, we just say 4 greater than 2. Is this output is yes? Yes. If this is true, then anything before this colon will execute, and if this part returned to be false, then this part of the code will execute. So this is like an else and if. So this is if part, this is else part. So anything before the colon becomes else, becomes if. After the question mark and before the colon, this is called as if, and this is called as else block. So this is called as a ternary operator. Okay, this is called as a ternary operator. For example, if I create, if I, let's say, well, tell me the output of this program if I run this. If 4 is greater than 2, if this is the case, if 4 is greater than 2, system.debug, wait a minute, this is a Boolean variable I've created. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, string x, is it okay, and then colon, and then cage. Now tell me what's going to be the output of this program. What's going to be the output of this program? So this is the ternary operator. Is what? If this is true. If this is true, so if this is true, which part of the code will run? This part of the code will run. If this is false, which part of the code will run? This part of the code will run. So this is called as a ternary operator. Exactly. So what will be the output of the program, Abhinav?
Yeah, Deepika.
Exactly. Okay, so in this case, this is going to get printed. So let's go ahead and double check what will get printed. So this is going to get printed here. Next thing is, let's say if I wanted to make sure if this is the condition I wanted to check. What's going to be the output of this program? this is true, so this part of the program will run, and then it's going to go ahead and say you are Deepika again. Okay, because 4 greater than 2. And if I say, you can have anything that results into true and false, you can write it here. And if I say this, then what will happen is this part of the program will, this part is going to get executed. So X will have a value of this. So what will have, this is going to be the part. Okay, so this is what we call it as a ternary operator. Okay, why people are leaving and coming back? Okay, so this you are Khana get printed. Next thing that we have here is the another one that we deal with is called as the date and time. Okay, date time. Let's say you wanted to store when is this position going to get open. That's a date. Okay, if you wanted to store what time is tomorrow's class, that's a time instance. Okay, instance is nothing but the objects. We'll talk about what are classes and objects in, I think, in next tutorial. But here we're going to see that if you wanted to store something related to date. Okay, so there is a variable available or data type called date here, and we can say so you provide here, you can say this is start date, let's say. What is the year? Let's say 2016. You provide the month, you provide it as 2 and the day, let's say as 17. Okay, so now what's going to happen is if I go back here and I say system dot of debug, and if I just provide what start date is, and then I'm going to go ahead and say start date. So what's going to be the output of the program? This is going to be the output of the program. It's going to go ahead and give you a particular date. So it will create a date instance for you. So you need to provide the year, the month, and you have to provide the day. Okay, so 17th, 2016, 02, 17. So that's what it is called as the day if you wanted to store a date. Okay. Similarly, you have a time also. In the time, you have to specify the hour, minute, and seconds. Okay, and milliseconds. So that becomes the time thing. So here, let's go back
Is,
and yeah, go ahead.
is format is like a year, month, and date,
Yeah.
or can be
So is it this
can
one is year, month, and date.
can we change that like month, year, month, date, and year?
Like what you want to do here?
Like if it's a month, date, and year, that format, so we can do that.
That's yeah. So that's more of like there is a function that you wanted to go ahead and do it in MMDDYY format. So you can change the format here. This is a function which is going to be displaying it in this format, but you can always go ahead and add a new pattern or a format which we can specify. Do you want it like January of something? Instead of this one, you should say February 17, 2016. Yeah, you can do those. You can specify the format as well. There are a lot of functions available in date. So the best way to check that out is, let's say, the best place you need to Google out is if you go up here, because there's too many functions, right? So you don't have to remember all of them. So you say date class salesforce. Okay, and there is always a documentation available which is basically going to go ahead and give you all these available methods. So anytime you have you know something and you wanted to do, so these are all the functions that are available in the date class. Okay, so here this is a function called format. And then in this format, if you click on it, it will tell you what does it do. It actually kinds of give you in this particular formatted, and then it results you. So these are the different functions that are available in date, and you can try to use any of these functions. So you don't have to remember what function does what. So this is a good documentation you guys can use and try to figure out what it is. Did you get it?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so always keep these things handy. If you wanted to see a string method, so just go ahead and say string class methods Salesforce. Just do Salesforce because there are a lot of these are common in a lot of places. So if you just go ahead and do it, these are the different functions that are available in the string class. If you want to calculate a particular character at, if you wanted to calculate the char at is also contains, if you want to make sure that okay, this particular string contains this thing, equal ignore case. So these are different kinds of methods that are available. Okay, always don't need to remember all of these. Okay, no one even remembers these. We just go to the documentation and take a look at it. Okay, going back to yours. Okay, so this is the start date. Similarly, you have a class called time, and in the time, do you guys know what is class? Know what is class and objects?
Object is instance of class.
And what is a class?
Class is um, I mean collection of methods.
What is it? What is it?
No, no. Object is collection of methods and statements. Class is collection of
Your fundas are all over the place. Leave it. Okay. Okay. Whenever I ask something, you never need to tell me the definition. I wanted to know when to use what. That's what it is. Okay. So see, string is very important. Date, most of the time you will end up using this a lot. If you wanted to calculate what is the current date. Okay. So there is a function of it. This is, if you wanted to calculate the current date, you just have to date today. This is a common use stuff, date dot of today. Okay, and you can always see here if you write in adder and all these add months, so it's going to add the months to it or whatever, and then if you want to say today's date, it's going to go and return you today's date. Okay, so string functions are very common, date functions are very common, and yeah, these are the two common. Time and date time I've not used that often, but date and the string are very two commonly used functions. You don't have to remember any of these. Okay, length is important in string when you have to calculate the length of a string. Those are the things, but you don't have to remember okay, this function is called that. Never. I've never remembered. And in question, and the questions that are going to come even in the exam, they will be very straightforward. How to check the length, how to check the add, you'll be able to figure it out. So you don't have to cram all these, learn all these functions. Okay, did I answer your question, Priyanka? Okay, so now if I go back and execute, this is going to be the, so if I go ahead and execute the program, what's going to be the output of the program? 247. Okay, there are so many. Start date is this one. Where is everything else? Oh, I haven't printed anything. That's fine. System.debug. Today's date is plus today. So it's going to go ahead and give me today's date. So this is another data type that is available to calculate the date. And then there are functions like add days, add month, all those kind of stuff. So this is the start date. This is the today's date. Okay. Are you guys following? It's very simple. Any questions so far? Okay, good. Next thing that we have is the decimal thing. If you wanted to store a decimal number, we have already talked, we have something called as a long data type. Then this is we have a decimal to store a decimal number, and then we have a double. Now, why we have these three things? Have you ever thought about it? Like all of these three store the same damn decimal digits. Then why we need three different types of all these kind of stuff? So the difference here is, see, in this one, long and integer, so this is it, these are the different data types. Let me put it. We have integer, we have long, we have decimal, and we have double. Now, why we have integer and long both store the same kind of number? Both are without the decimal. You can store 1 to 3 here and you can store 1 to 3 here also. But why there is two different data types to store numbers? Have you thought about it? Why there is two different data types to store a number?
Integer has limits. Long is I think 64 character or something.
And what is integer?
Integer is I think 8. No, it's 16 characters, I guess.
No. Okay, integer is 16-bit long, sorry, 32-bit number, and the long is 64-bit number.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
It's a limit.
So that's a very good, that's a very interesting concept. Let me tell you. It's like, so this is one and 0. This is 1 bit, right? So
Yeah.
this is 1 bit, right? This is called 1 bit. In computer memory, everything is bit. Okay, so if you wanted to store 1, you need 1 bit to store it. Okay, and 1 byte is equals to how much? Is equals to 8 bits, right?
Yeah.
And 1 byte is equals to 8 bits. Now here, let's say if I wanted to store 16, how many bits I will need? So it will start like this: 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16, 32. So if I wanted to store 16 in computer memory, at least how many minimum bits I will need? Can I represent 16 in these 4 things in 4 bits? Can I do that?
No.
You cannot do that, right? Because even if you make all of them true, the maximum number that you can represent is 8 plus 4, that is 12, 12 plus 2, 14, and 14 plus 1, 15. So to store a 15 number, like if you wanted to store something as 15, you need 4 bits, right? And if you
Yeah.
wanted to store 16, you need at least 5 bits. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Because so let's say if I say if I want to represent 127, how will I represent? If I wanted to represent 127 in binary, how will I represent? It's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. How many bits are there? 4 and 4. So if I want to represent 128, how will I represent? 128. Can I represent 128 in this?
No. 8
Okay.
bits. Yeah.
You will need 8 bits because the maximum number that I can, what is the maximum number that I can represent with 7 bits?
64.
No. What is the maximum number that I can
7.
represent with these bits? What is the maximum number? Maximum
7.
number is when all of the bits are 1, right?
Yeah.
That's the maximum number. So maximum number I can represent will be 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. That comes out to be 127. If I need to store anything more than 127, I need an additional bit. And now let's say if I want to represent 255 with these, what will be the max? How will I do that? If I wanted to store 255. Abhinav and Priyanka, are you following what I'm talking here? See, everything in computer is in bits. Okay, 1 or 0, 1 or 0. For 250, yeah, for to store 255, how many bits I will need? All 1. So that is, all 1 means 255, then this is okay. So I can represent 255 in 8 bits. Now if I want to represent 256, I will need additional 8 bits because computer gives you in bits, bytes, 1 byte, 2 byte, 3 byte, 4 byte. It won't give you like 1 bit at a time. It will give you in a set of 8 bits. So then I'll need another 1 bit to represent 256. Okay, so similarly, why we have integer and why we have long? Because integer takes 32 bits, means 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, it will go up to 2 raised to power of, I think, 31 or something. Okay, this is 2 raised to power 0, this is 2 raised to power 1, this is 2 raised to power 2, it will go to 231. So maximum number you can represent would be whatever, whenever all of these are 1. That is the maximum number you can represent in an integer. If you talk about long, then in the case of long, you can have up to 64 bits. So you can go from 1, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, up to 2 to the power 63. So maximum number that you can represent will be more in case of long as compared to integers. So if you want to store very large numbers, like what is the distance between Earth and Sun, if you wanted to store these kind of things, you need a pretty large number. But if you just wanted to store what's your age, what's your weight, so those are some small numbers, and usually we use integers. Okay, long is represented to store large numbers. Okay, that's what the long is for. Double is basically is a 64-bit decimal number. That's it. It's a 64-bit decimal number is there when you talk about double. And they also have a different data type. This decimal, this is only available in Apex. This is basically used in currencies. Okay, when you have to store how much price it is and all that, then you need a data type of currency. That is what the decimal data type is for. Okay, next thing I already told you yesterday was enums. Enums is nothing but if you wanted to store the what you called as what was it, like some constants. That's when we use the enums. Okay, now next thing that I have here is you need to tell me the output before we move to the next topic. So here, let's say this is my program. Okay, let's take example of enums. Yeah, the seasons, like the constants that we want to store. Okay, so if I say here winter, spring, summer, fall, this is my enum constants that I have defined. Okay, season, s is equals to season dot of summer. If s is equals to tell me what's going to be the output of this program. Which line or which all lines will get printed? What's going to be the output of the program? So I have created a constant set which is like a season which has winter, spring, summer, fall. Okay, what I'm saying here is there is a variable that I have created. Okay, there is a variable that I've created called s. Okay, one which has a value of summer. This season dot summer means this has a value of summer in it. Okay, now s is equals to what? Summer. What I'm checking against is s is equals to winter, which is not true. So which part of the code will run? Else part of the code will run. Did you get it, guys? Okay, so this is when you're going to use enum. Enum is basically, let's say you're working in a company where it asks you for, you have some status of a particular ticket. Okay, those are the specific status, in progress, in demand, or whatever, those kind of constants. Okay, so if you want to store some specific constants, you create an enum for them, and then in the enum you basically, let's say you created a variable which is of type season. Season is nothing but is a sum of these constants, and then but one time it has a value of summer in it. Okay, now s is equals to summer. You're checking against winter, which is false, so this is false. So which part of the code will run? This part of the code will run. So if I go ahead and execute this one, okay, so this is its summer is going to get executed. Okay, this part of the code. And if I check against summer, then what's gonna be the output of the program? Line number 5 gets executed according to Ravi. What about others? Same as before means what? Is it going to print line number 9 or is it going to print line number 5? Okay, what is the value of S now? What is the value of SS? Okay, summer. And what is this going to return you? Summer, right? So is two things are equal? Is the S equal to? Okay, so this, okay, output of the program would be this line. And you got it, why? Because this is a true statement, so if part of the block will run. Okay, so this output of this is going to be, it's winter. It's winter is going to be the output. I know this is a wrong debug statement to confuse you, but that first is going to run. Okay, I hope you got it, why the number 5th is going to be the output. Okay, computer is not smart enough to figure out what we are saying, but this is going to be the output. Okay, next thing that we have is, I already told you that the Apex is a case insensitive language. So what does that mean is, if I do something like this, system.today is going to give me the same result as this one. Okay, so both of them are going to give me the same output because today's date does not matter. Is it written in capital letter, is it written in small letter, or is it written in combination of these letters? Okay, it does not matter. All that matters is, if I say if this is written in small, it does not matter. Okay, so if I go ahead and execute, because Apex is a case insensitive language. Remember this. Next thing that we have, guys, is, let's say if I tell you, because all of them are giving the same output, if I tell you, can you store the name of, let's say there are 25 students in your class, store the name of all 25 students in the class. How you will do that? How many variables will you need it? 25. Okay, to store everyone's name. Okay, I got you. Don't you think it's a bad idea? Like if tomorrow I say my class size increased to 100, are you going to create another 75 variables? Don't you think there should be a better option besides? So that's when we come concept of arrays and lists. Okay, what is an array and what is a list? Both are very same. They're same in case of Apex language. List is basically a collection of similar kind of elements. Okay, let's say if I ask you store the names of 25 students, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and first tell me what kind of elements you're going to store. Is it going to be all string? Is it going to be all integer? Is it going to be all Boolean? Is it going to be all numbers? Whatever. Okay, so you have to specify something like this. You specify list the type, okay, then let's say I wanted to store all integers, then you name the list. Okay, name list is age of students. Let's say this is what I wanted to go ahead and store. And then you say new of list. This is way of declaring it. Remember, these are some syntax you need to remember. Okay, this is the way of declaring it. And if in an exam they might give you a different option, so you need to make sure that which option is the right way of declaring the in list. Okay, so list, what is the type of list? Are you storing 25 names? Are you storing 25 age? Are you storing what you are storing? You have to specify that here, and then you have to specify the name of the list, because there might be another list here which is again of integer, and this stores the marks of the students. If you don't specify the name, then how you're going to differentiate between which list are you talking about? So you need to have a name of that list as well. Okay, now you have to add elements to it. So how that is done, let me explain you. So you will go ahead and create a list here, and you will add the elements to the list. So if I asked you to store the names of students of your class, so I'm going to, first thing is, either you end up creating 25 string variables and store everyone's name, either you just do like this. You create a list, it's of string type, okay, names of student is equals to list of string, and then this, and then this. Okay, list is equals to this name of students, and then list. Okay, now if I go ahead and print it, what's going to give it to me? Tell me, guys. If I go ahead and I say, what do you think will be the output of the program? Name of students, and I say plus names of students. Why you think it will be null? Nothing. It's just going to be name of students, and then this we have, since we have not added anything, let's see what's going to be the output. Unexpected token. It's going to be new list. If I go to the debug, so name of students is nothing. So it does not print any value here because we have not added anything here. So that's why it came out to be empty. Just give me a second. Okay, so now we have, this is now how I'm going to add the students. There's a method here called name of students. This is a list here, and I'll say name of student dot add. Okay, name of student dot add here, and then you can add whatever you wanted to add. So here I can say Deepika. Okay, then I can say this one, I can add as many elements as I want here. So there is no, so if I say names of element, and then you go up and say Priyanka, and then you go ahead and say this one, Abhinav, and then we can say, okay, so this is what it is. It's going to give you, display all the students of your all the name that you have. So name of students, you have added Deepika in it, then it goes Priyanka, then next, and then next. Now let's say if I want to print everyone's name, how will I do that? So I need to do, let's say I wanted to print Priyanka's. So what happens is Priyanka will be stored at line number, it will start from 0. Deepika is at location 0, Priyanka is at location 1, when Abhinav is at location 2 and Ravi is at position 3. So if I say system dot of debug and I say name of my student, this is called as name of students, and then you access, let's say if you wanted to access Priyanka, so I'll say 0 and 1. So this is what Priyanka will get printed here, because this is going to be, this is by indexing. Okay, this is called index. So how does the thing happen? It happens like this. So you created a list. You created a list here. Okay, list will have, let's say, different components. So let's say if I say list, let's say I've created a list name my list. This is the name of my list, and I said my list dot add Deepika. So Deepika will go here at location index number 0. This is index number 1, this is index number 3, 4 and 5. Deepika will go here. Then again you said my list dot add Abhinav. So Abhinav will go up here. Okay. Then you said my list dot add Priyanka. So Priyanka will go here. So that is at index number 2. So now if I go back and run this and say execute, this is going to be the output of the program. So what's going to happen? It's going to print what is at location number. I think we said 0 or we said 1. So it's Priyanka, because Priyanka is at location number 1. Deepika is at location number 0. So if I say 0, this is going to give me Deepika. If I say, so it starts with the indexing of 0. So that's how the elements are stored. Okay. You created a list, or we can call it as an array, and it starts with the 0 and it goes up. Okay. Name of my student Deepika. Now guys, in a list you can add duplicates. Duplicates means I can go ahead and say names of students and I can add another Deepika. Okay, there's no, it won't complain, or it won't, it will just keep on adding it to the list. Okay, so let's say if I say again I'll say Deepika, it will allow me to add the same element. Okay, so here if I wanted to display what is at location number 2, what will get printed guys? 0, 1 and 2. So what will get printed here? Deepika will get printed here. So if I go ahead and execute, and if I say debug only, this is what's going to get printed. Okay, let me go back and see what happened. Okay, 0. Okay, so then now this becomes 1. 1 and 0, 1 and 2. So it will be Priyanka and Deepika. So that's both going to be, the output is going to be Priyanka and Deepika will get printed. Now let's say guys, this is name of student Priyanka and name of student Deepika. So you know how to create a list and how to add elements to the list. And in list you can have duplicates. Okay, you can have duplicates in a particular list. But there is another thing. Let's say I don't want to add a let's say I don't want to add a particular, what you can say, duplicates. Okay, before jumping into that, there is another way of declaring the list. You don't have to say name of students and add and all that. What you can do here is you can specify the elements right away here. You don't have to do that. You can just specify the elements here. So while you're creating it, you can say something like this. You can say like, okay, these are my students. Okay, it's a string type, so you have to have Deepika, Manish, Simran, whatever the name you want to put it, and these are your elements. Okay, and now who is there in, who is at location number 1 and who is at location number 2? Tell me what will be the output of the program, guys. Okay, what about others? Okay, very good, Priyanka. What about Abhinav? Abhinav, what's going to be your answer? What is the location number 1? Deepika and Manish. Okay. See, I told you indexing start from 0. So this goes under location number 0. This is location number 1. This is location number 2. So I said to print 1 and 2. So Manish and Simran will get printed. Okay. It does not start from right to left. It starts from left to right. So this is the first element you add to the list. This is the second and this is the third. So 0, 1 and 2. Okay. Never forget that. So Manish and Simran. Next one we have is, now the next thing that we have here is we have done, this is what we have added. We have created a list here. Now the next thing guys is, I don't want, let's say I wanted to store there. Let me go through some couple examples also of list instead of just, now tell me what's going to be the output of this program. You can declare list like this as well. Okay, that instead of,
Only we use that for array, right?
huh?
Only we use that for array, right?
So in Apex, this is array and list are very similar. So we can replace each other with each other's thing. Okay.
Mhm.
So there's nothing a difference between array and list here that much. So we consider it as very similar. So we can use, this is a kind of a list, but it has been declared in like an array. Okay. Next thing is, let's say, you have to tell me what I'm doing at every line. Okay. Okay, so what we have done here is, okay, so what is going to be the output first of all? What's going to be the output of the program? So my list of 0, we created a list with the name of my list. And what type of elements you can store in this list? Integers. Okay, you can store integers in this. Now first element that I added to my list is 10. Okay, so what is the index of 10? 0. That's what the index of 10 is. Integer I is equals to my list of 0. So I'm trying to access what is, this is an assignment operator, and I told you using an assignment operator, anything from the right will move to the thing on the left. So my list of 0 has what? 10 in it. So what will be the value of I? 10. Okay. Next thing we have is integer j is equals to my list dot get of 0. This is also a kind of way to access the element with using a get method. There is a method available in a list, in any list there is a method available called get. And here in the get you have specified the index. So index is 0. So what is it at index 0? 10 again. So what is going to be the value of the output of the program? It's going to be I is 10 and j is 10. Got it? What is the purpose of the list? List is basically to store collection of similar elements. If you wanted to store names of 10 people, you don't need to create 10 different variables to store the names. You can create a list which can have 10 elements and you just keep on adding the elements to that list. You got it? Okay. Next thing we have, Priyanka, are you following? Okay, good. Is it too simple? Should I fast forward it? Or should I go to the display speed? Okay. Okay, good. If you want me to fast forward it, I can do it. Okay, Abhinav is saying a little bit slow. Okay. Okay, I'll give you a quick recap on what we did today, okay? So you don't have to before moving to the next one. So we created a list, integer I is equals to this one, then we have to, let's see what's going to be the output.
Yeah, basically, I can understand you what you're saying, but I can't catch that fastness. How you're speaking, I can't catch that.
What is it, Abhinav? Your voice is kind of, there's a lot of disturbance going on.
I can understand what you're saying, but I can't catch the speed of your speaking.
Oh my God, I have that issue. I talk too fast. I try to be a little slow. Okay, I get a little excited when I teach. That's the thing. That's the thing. Okay, so it's kind of like this is my thing, and I'll really get excited. So now what we have is, let's go ahead and execute this one, and let's see what's the output. Value of I is 10, value of j is 10. Okay, this is going to be the output of the program. Now let's say if I add another element here, my list sort of add, let's say I add couple items. Okay. Now tell me what's going to be the output of this program. Very good. Okay, Abhinav,
Yes,
what is the index of 10?
0,
What is the index of 20?
20, 0.
How can both the elements will be have index 0?
Sorry, 2 is.
No, 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 no. Okay, somebody explain. Priyanka, explain to Abhinav. Okay, I can't hear you. See, this is how the elements get added, Abhinav. First item that you added is, you said list.add 10, right? So you created, this is a list. The first element goes to the first location, this is 10. Okay. Then what did you added next? You added 20. So if you go back here, this is 20. What is the next thing? 30. So you go ahead and add it to 30. So you have to see from top to bottom. Okay. First is 10, then is 20, then is 30. So if you go
Sorry,
back here,
sorry, sorry.
so this
Got it.
becomes 30. So what is the index? Everything starts from
30.
0. So 0, 1 and 2. So what is the index of 2 here? What value is at index 2? 30. So what did I ask you? I said value of I is I. What is I here? I is my list of 0. What is at 0? 0 has 10. So this will print what? This will print 10 here. Okay. What is this one? Value of j is j. What is j? J is
30.
my list of get 2. Get 2 means index of 2. What is it? 0, 1, 2. So that is 30. So this is going to be 30. Got it? Okay. Next thing is, let's say if I make it a string. A string. Okay, what's going to be the output of the program? Okay, tell me what's the answer. Oh.
Value of I is Deepika and value of J is Samantha.
Okay, so value of I is Deepika. So I said 0, that's Deepika, very good. And J is 2, 0, 1, 2, that's Samantha. Okay, good. And if I say value of 3?
3 is Ashma.
Very good. 4?
Again.
Deepika, right? That's good. Okay, next thing that we have, can you guys mute yourself? Okay, Abhinav has the, okay. So now, next thing that we have is, I told you about a list. So in list, you can have duplicates, right? You can add duplicates here in a list, but there is something called as a set. Okay, what is a set? Set is basically, it's an unordered collection of objects, means there is no order. Here you keep adding elements in the order that you have entered, right? You added first Deepika, then Ashima goes, then Samantha goes, then Ashima, then Deepika. In a set, you basically cannot have duplicates. Okay, it won't even add you to that set list. Okay, so let's say how to create a set. You just say set similarly that you have created, then what is the, it's also a collection. So if it can be a collection of string, it can be a collection of integer, it can be a collection. It's a collection of string. You say here s is equals to new string. Oh, new set of string type. You can define the elements right away here, or you can go ahead and you can define it just like this, mylist.add. Okay, now in this case, guys, how many elements will be there in the list? I'll tell you. Deepika will be there, Ashima will be there, and Samantha will be there. Okay, it won't add again Ashima, it won't add again Deepika. So what will be the output if I say, if I run this one, my list is 0 is what? 0. Okay, no duplicates are there, so there won't be any duplicates. So these two things will not even get added. It won't complain, the program will not complain, but these two items will not get added, and I'll tell you why, and I'll show you why that these are not added. So first thing is, what did I do? So didn't I do a string here? New set of string. What is wrong?
There is no index for 3, right?
Oh yeah, oh thank good catch. That's one thing, but there's another one. Let me see, that was not the error. Expression must be a list type. Let me see if this is the problem. Column 30 variable I does not exist. That's fine. Okay, let's leave it like that. Let me show you what I was saying. So if I go ahead and create this element, let's say I added another Deepika and I added another Ashima. Okay, so if I wanted to go and see how many items got added, I can do it. There is a method available in a set called as system.Deepika debug the size of the set. So you will think it will be like 5 or something, right? It's not going to be like that. It's just going to be only not the duplicate. So it's going to be my list dot of size Okay, so here it will go ahead and display you only 3 elements because it will show you only without the duplicate. So if here we're going to go ahead and calculate, it's going to be size is going to be 3. No matter how many elements you've added, it won't even add it. But if you go ahead and you created another one, let's say this time you create a list. So here if I go ahead and say this is a, instead of a set, I say it as a list. And here instead of a set, I call it as a list. And
Muted. Unmuted.
Because I can't hear you, but you can see it's clear.